Welcome once again to another installment of the Ridiculous Ramblings of a Drunken Buddha. Juan here. Oh my God, it's been a day. Freaking Mercury retrograde. I've tried to record this video about 15 times now, and every single time it's not worked. And unfortunately, it's one of those that you get halfway through it, and then you see something might be wrong, and you get no audio, or the video is all chopped. Anyways, I can't wait for Mercury retrograde to be done. In any case, so I want to talk today about what's your number. Not 867-5309, Jenny. Not that number. Although, never mind. I've had a lot of conversations recently with friends, coworkers, folks that were faced with early retirement, buyout options, forward planning, strategic planning about possibly, offloading assets or, merging, selling off businesses, that sort of thing. And it all comes back down to a conversation I had with one of my best friends who had said, the whole concept of all of this gets a lot easier once you know what your number is. And by that, he's referring to, what is the number that you need to achieve in order to get to or live the lifestyle that you want, in order to live comfortably or for whatever income that you're bringing in to offset the grind that you're going through, or to live the life that your dream life, whatever it is that you want. Maybe it's the retirement life, that sort of thing. And it astonishes me that so more often than not, that number that everyone comes back with is $10 million. Has to be $10 million. What's your number? $10 million. If I had $10 million, if I won the lottery tomorrow and I had $10 million, I could do X, Y, and Z. All these things would come true if I had $10 million. And the question comes back to, all right, well, that's great, but why 10? How did you arrive at $10 million? And I recently went through this sort of thought experiment, and it sort of opened my eyes to the bigger picture here. As you start looking at what it is that you want, what are you trying to achieve? Start with the basics, your housing. What sort of place do you want to live in? Where do you want to live? What does it cost to live there? Say, all right, your dream home cost $1 million. Okay, great. So logically, you think, well, if it's going to cost $1 million to buy a house, then that gives me, a couple other million to do this, that, and the other thing. But realistically, it's not $1 million out of pocket. I mean, I guess ideally, if you have the cash you want to pay for it, great, fine, whatever. But we don't do that. We mortgage it out for 30 years. So, all right, so you take a portion of said money, say, whatever it is your buyout option is going to be, or you're, selling your assets, selling your business, selling whatever. You take a portion of that, maybe that becomes your down payment, and then you finance out the rest. So what realistically is your monthly payment that you have to cover? So you say, oh, I don't know, maybe it's $10,000 a month, which is astronomical, but okay, $10,000 a month. Multiply by 12 months, it's $120,000 a year. Maybe you can roll in your taxes and, insurance and all of that into it. But all right, and so now you need a car. You say $1,000 a month for a car. There's another $12,000. So now you're at what, $132, and you want to travel a couple of times a year. That's two $10,000 a year trips, which is a great trip. I would love a $10,000 trip. That would be fantastic. So, all right, so now we're at what, 152, and then say you throw in another $30,000-$40,000 a year for miscellaneous living expenses, this and that. And maybe it goes up or down from there, but you get the point. You get all of that up to, say, the $200,000 range. $1 million will last you 5 years with no other income coming in, give or take. 5 years on $1 million. So you say, all right, well, 5 years from now, I want to sell off my business, or I want to unload all of my assets and my rental properties and this, that, and the other thing, but I can't do it for under, $10 million. Really? If that's your plan in 5 years, and that just $1 million will get you 5 years, depending where you're at in life, how far are we looking to go? And on top of it, how much money are you going to be bringing in with other side gigs or, ad hoc type of business and revenue or other opportunities to make money to offset some of your other expenses? When you start looking at it that way, the $10 million initially seems like, that's a pie in the sky idea. I mean, that's, for many of us, that's like a far-fetched number. That's like, winning the jackpot, winning the lotto, $10 million, that will make all my dreams come true. And I'll enable me to do everything that I want to do. But it also seems very unattainable. If you look at, what you're doing, what your annual salary is, and how much you're grinding, day in and day out, it doesn't seem like an attainable number, and it almost seems unfair to ourselves that we are working and grinding so hard to reach this unattainable thing, when realistically we probably don't need that. We don't need to be working that hard to it. I mean, yeah, sure, great. If all the stars align and it all falls together, that's fantastic. But if your number really is like 1.5, 2.25, that seems a lot more realistic and a lot more attainable to, live the lifestyle that you want. But I think this exercise is more beneficial for running through this a couple of times a year, almost like you're purging your home, the spring cleaning, if you will. Reassessing that number and kind of gauging, what is it that we actually need, what is it that we actually want, and what can we get rid of? What can we live without? What do we need? Memberships to clubs or fitness facilities that we're probably not going to need. We don't need to factor that in because we're going to be doing other things. If we want to live in a big city that has mass transit, do we really need a car that's $1,000 a month? Because currently we're commuting an hour and a half each way, 3 hours a day. So we want a nice luxurious car because we spend most of our time in it. Do we really need that if we're walking in, say, downtown Chicago and Manhattan, LA, wherever you're at? Well, maybe LA, you might need that, but you get my point. I hope you get my point. So some of these things you can start to pull out. And yes, keep in mind, I am not a financial planner and I'm not trying to give you financial advice. My goal here is we want to do an inventory of the things that we need in order to clearly define the goals that we're working for, so that we're not grinding ourselves to the bone for some unattainable number that we really don't need. We're never going to spend. We're never going to use all of that. Now, granted, sure, you win the lottery and $100 million falls in your lap, and I mean, more power to you. Hopefully you do something good with it. But there have been studies over and over and over that once you hit that certain point when we say your number, this is the number that you need to really be content and happy, the rest of it all becomes noise. More money, more problems, right? It all becomes, how are you going to manage it? Who's going to get what? How do you divvy it up? It's unnecessary noise. I mean, and granted, if you're struggling and like living paycheck to paycheck, and believe me, I understand that better than most, perhaps. It sucks. And to hear, oh yeah, if you had $5 million and I could do all this and that with it, but I couldn't be happy. It was the golfer, Scotty Scheffler. Of course, we're going back to golf. Said he wasn't happy, and I get that. I understand what he was saying. He wasn't happy after a while. All of these victories and these winnings and the purses and the prizes and everything, that's amazing. but it has a diminishing, return off of every one that you do that is subsequent to the last. And he's absolutely right. Like, at some point, these things start to, the next million is not great. The next 100,000, 500,000, whatever it is, once your basic needs are met for what you need, what you want to be happy, no more amount of money is going to fill that void. And if you can get to that contented spot, that's what we're truly working for. So, I guess when someone asks, what's your number? I doubt very much that it's 10 million. Maybe it is. And if it is, great, good for you. And if you're working that hard, or if you have the opportunities and the means to, achieve that, fantastic, good for you. But I think for most of us, that number's a lot smaller, and that's not a bad thing. That means it's real, it's attainable. We can get there, and we don't have to grind ourselves to the bone day in and day out to do it. We can enjoy the time while we're still young. While you're still young, hopefully, to enjoy these times and not have to be tied to the machine constantly, day in and day out, and going through the grind. That's my thought, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I didn't make you mad. So, go forth. Kindness and cocktails. We'll see you again soon. Thanks.